Hello and welcome to our special Africa Combination show here on France 24. And well, it was another day and another surprise result. We'll be going through it all with Eurosport journalist Ruben Slagter in the studio in Paris with us this evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
And we'll also be joined by our very own Justice Baidoo in the Ivory Coast. And let's start with that big shock of the day and a historic result for Namibia as they beat Tunisia 1-0 in their Group E opener. Deon Hotto scored a header in the 88th minute, securing the Brave Warriors' first ever win at AFCON. For more, let's go to our correspondent, Justice Baidoo in Abidjan. What an astounding result for Namibia.
Yes, it truly was. Namibia, this is their fourth showing at this AFCON. They've never been able to make it out of the group stages. And so this was really a game where they were going to be very lucky, even if they were able to pull up a draw against Tunisia. Tunisia, 2004 champions of the AFCON, always been big players when it comes to this tournament. And so it was always very clear for them that the game was theirs to lose. It looked like they were actually going to win because they dominated the game, created a lot of decent chances, but failed to take any of those chances until Namibia was able to take their chance in the 88th minute and then punish them for all those chances that they wasted earlier. Tunisia will now have a very, very tall mountain to climb to be able to get out of this very, very tricky group.
Yeah, like you said, that a disappointing result for Tunisia. Just quickly, Justice, a lot of people have been talking about the heat at this tournament so far, the heat in the Ivory Coast, of which that you are experiencing firsthand. The referee actually halted play for a water break in the first half of this game. The temperature was 35 degrees when it kicked off at 5 p.m. local time. There are increasing comments from managers and players about it being very difficult to play in such heat. Was that the case here today, and is it affecting globally the games that we're seeing?
Yes, so the weather in Ivory Coast, especially around this time, January, is dry, is hot, and also very, very humid. So yes, it's an issue, and this tournament actually had to be delayed from last year exactly because of weather concerns. And so it's an issue, especially for the teams that are coming from outside this region. I mean, the temperatures that they are familiar with around this region. It's really, really tough on them, and it's an issue. But a lot of them are coping. I mean, you really need to cope to be able to play the game. It's an issue, but people are playing the game, and so yes, it's ongoing.
Okay, Justice Baidoo in Ivory Coast will be crossing back to you later on in the show. And well, let's keep talking about that surprise result, a really deserved one for Namibia, and you could really see what it meant during their celebrations. But it was also a poor performance by Tunisia that's left a lot of Eagle of Carthage fans disappointed back home.
Honestly, there was no play, zero tactics. Those at the back stayed at the back, no counterattacks. So I don't know how things will turn out for the rest of the tournament, especially because the next game against Mali will be difficult.
I watch all of our team's games. I'm a big fan, and every time I have a lot of hope. Well, today wasn't great, maybe because of the weather, maybe they were too hot. I hope they do better in the next one.
Ruben, Tunisia had more possession, but it was perhaps a case of squandering their chances or not being efficient enough in front of goal?
Yeah, but we can also say that about Namibia. I mean, it's important to talk about Tunisia because they are the favorites. But please, let's talk about Namibia. What a performance. Brave Warriors. That was exactly what they were, right? We had it was such a nice... I really loved to watch the game. There was so much energy in it, especially from Namibia. And that goal, I mean, the cross from Mzue and then the header from Hotto, it was inch perfect. And I think, and we have seen it with many other teams, they are going onto the pitch to win their games, and that's what's making the difference. Namibia felt from the beginning that there was something to win in this game, And that's a real difference compared to, for example, 2 years ago in Cameroon, where there were a lot of teams that were only preventing the opponents from scoring. Now we can see Namibia, we can see Cape Verde, we can see Mozambique, to name just 3, but there are many others. It's fantastic to see them play.
So on that note, we've seen a lot of the big hitters in this tournament so far: Egypt, Cameroon, Algeria, Nigeria, not winning their first game. Now Tunisia as well. We always see surprises at AFCON, but there's been quite a few already. Does this show that smaller teams are perhaps catching up?
Yes, I also think that the big teams are disappointing, except for Senegal and for Côte d'Ivoire, and well, we talk later about Mali. But the other teams, I think that all together, they were quite disappointing in how they played. But you have to give credit also to the other teams, also just by the way they are playing. They're really there to take the risks, and that's what makes this tournament until now a real joy to watch.
Okay, well, let's move on to Tuesday's late kickoff. Again, with Ruben Mali beating South Africa 2-0 in Group E. It was a solid performance from Mali. They've got a talented squad, perhaps the best they've seen in a while. They've never won an AFCON. Could they go far in this tournament?
At least this is a real chance for them to go really far. We have to say that the first half, South Africa were the better team and they missed a penalty. But then after the break, Mali came back. I was impressed by them, also by their squad is quite complete. There's a lot of fans. I also think that will maybe play a role because there's so many Malian fans in the stadium who are giving a big atmosphere and pushing the team. So yeah, they have a chance to go far. Are they the big favorites? Probably not. I think that Senegal and Morocco are still a step higher just because of the pure quality they have. But yeah, if in a tournament with all those surprises, I think that everybody will now think that they have a chance.
And South Africa, they're often branded as underachievers at AFCON. Are we going to see the same thing again this time round? Do you think they'll manage to get out of their group?
We'll see. I mean, the next game will be against Namibia. That can be a really interesting game. I was not disappointed by how South Africa played tonight, to be fair. If they score that penalty, normally they will be 1-0 up and it will be a complete different game. I think that they will take a lot of positive points also from this game. And yeah, we were talking about a group of death with Senegal and Guinea and Cameroon. But maybe this group is even tougher, especially now we have seen Namibia playing so well against Tunisia. Especially
now, as you said, after that, a surprise result. Let's now move on to Group D, where Burkina Faso narrowly beats Mauritania 1-0 in their opener. Burkina Faso looks set to join big hitters Egypt and Nigeria, Algeria to fail to win their opening match. But Bertrand Traoré got the winner in the 96th minute after converting a penalty. Justice, let's go back to you for this one. They've reached the semi-finals at the last out of 3 of the last 5 AFCONs, but Burkina Faso weren't really looking their best this evening.
No, they weren't. I had actually written down my paper and I had just left in place spaces for the writing that Burkina Faso were going to win this game because I was certainly sure that they were definitely going to be able to beat Mauritania. Mauritania, traditionally not a football nation. They only making their 3rd appearance at the AFCON, and a lot of very inexperienced players, and so you really would not tip them to be able to stand a chance against Burkina Faso. And so yes, it was always expected that Burkina Faso were going to win. They did well, dominated in many parts of the game. Mauritania actually also created a lot of decent chances on their own. They actually, especially in the first half, had more shots on target than Burkina Faso. Unfortunately, weren't able to bury a lot of those chances. And then Burkina Faso came back strongly in the second half, took their chance as late as the 96th minute, and then were able to get that goal through the former Chelsea man Bertrand Traoré. So yes, it's really a great start for Burkina Faso. Again, they too find themselves in a very tricky group, and so it's good for them, and it puts them in a very great condition that they are able to win this first game, especially looking at the results that came from the other game from yesterday.
Keep an eye on all of those groups so far. They're all playing out quite interestingly. Thank you, Justice, for us in Ivory Coast there. Ruben, we can say they scraped the result, but at the end of the result, a win is a win. Burkina Faso are top of their group with 3 points, obviously because of that other result yesterday with Algeria getting that surprise draw against Angola.
Yeah, and Burkina Faso, they never won an opening match. So they are slow starters traditionally. We saw that during this game. I had the same feeling as Justice that at some point there would be an opportunity for Burkina. But if there was a chance for Mauritania to win their first AFCON game, it was clearly today. We could have had another upset because, especially in the first half, they were at least equal, maybe a bit better than Burkina Faso. But yeah, during the game, it was also maybe a lack of experience and that they were maybe a bit too much playing for the draw. For Burkina, Burkina Faso, it's a great result. I'm not sure if we compare it to the team 2 years ago. I think that then they were stronger compared to now, but that's just my feeling. We'll see the game against Algeria will be an interesting test for them because, Algeria, they have to win that game. So yeah, there will be a lot of pressure on them, and maybe for Burkina that can be a huge positive.
We'll have to wait and see. Before we leave you for this evening, let's take a quick look ahead to Wednesday's games. World Cup semi-finalists Morocco kick off their campaign against Tanzania, while the Democratic Republic of Congo take on Zambia. The Atlas Lions' heroics at the World Cup really captivated the entire continent. They, of course, made history becoming the first African team to reach a World Cup semi-final. There's a lot of excitement, Ruben, I feel, surrounding Morocco and very high expectations, but they're serial underachievers at AFCON.
Yeah, and especially in sub-Saharan tournaments. So yeah, this is a huge test. The next AFCON will be in Morocco, so maybe that's also a huge goal for them. But yeah, they are one of the main favorites with Senegal, for me at least. Really looking forward because what can they do the same what they did during the World Cup? In the World Cup, it was a complete different situation, of course, because then they were always the underdog in almost every game. Now they are the favorites. What can they do against Tanzania? Tanzania will be also backed by everything they've seen during this tournament. It can be a really exciting game, but maybe also Morocco will just do like Senegal and confirm that they're one of the favorites. It's really a game to look out for.
Well, yeah, they're definitely carrying a very different label to they did last time round, and the situation is quite a different one as well because manager Walid Regragui took over the job just a few weeks before the World Cup. But despite Morocco being the highest-ranked team at AFCON, he says no opponent should be underestimated. Let's take a listen to him.
The match will not be easy, and we knew this from the minute the draw was made. But we're excited and we have confidence in ourselves, and we're not afraid. But to get positive results, we have to be 100% prepared. And this is what we want. We respect our opponents, and they're not an easy team. But in this competition, there are no easy teams. Every team has their own value in this competition, the Africa Cup of Nations.
Let's quickly look, Ruben, at the other game that will be going on tomorrow, Group F. There's not much maybe separating the two sides, DR Congo and Zambia.
Well, Congo are favorites in that game, but yeah, it's. I think they both will feel that there's a real opportunity to win that one. So yeah, that can be exciting as well. DR Congo talking about underachievers. Yeah, it's also a team what we're always looking forward to, and that are a bit disappointing. So. Yeah, well, it's an interesting group again because Morocco is the clear favorite, but the other three will think that there's a good chance to go through, and maybe if we will have a same upset as we had in the other groups, it will be all wide open, and then we'll have 2 other game days where there will be a lot of excitement.
And there's obviously best third placed. Places as well. I'm not sure if that's quite how you formulate it.
Let's not start talking and calculating. And no,
yeah,
we know
I'm not getting my maths book out quite yet on my calculator, should I say. That is it for this evening. A big thank you to Ruben in the studio with me here and to Justice Baidoo in Ivory Coast. And thank you for watching. Tune in at the same time. That's 11:10 Paris time for all the latest from the Africa Cup of Nations. Goodbye for now.
France 24, your economy explained.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.